Welcome back to episode 2 of the 9 Frames podcast. I'm one half of your host, Mike Whalen.
And I am Bill Whalen.
And real quick, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the episode, we'll go over some interesting, what would you call them?
Tidbits, I guess.
Around the league.
Yeah.
First off, we saw Carlos Estevez on Twitter talking to fans, promising that when the Angels clinch their spot in the playoffs, he's going to Naruto run straight to center field.
Yeah, don't know if we'll be seeing the celebration this year, but interesting to say that he would do it.
I kind of want them to make it just so that we see if he's a man of his word.
Would love to see it, and I'm thinking if they make it, he's doing the Naruto run.
Real quick, another one was Bobby Witt Jr. You see he threw the ball so hard that it went through Matt Duffy's first base glove.
Absolute bullet. Looked a bit like Mario from Mario Super Sluggers.
Yesterday, the Braves turned an unusual triple play, mostly to the fault of bad base running by the Red Sox.
Absolutely god-awful base running by the Red Sox. This morning, Alex Cora actually said on MLB Central how bad it was and that he's going to hold the guys accountable for that. But, bright spots for the Red Sox right now, they're very hot. And Yoshida, coming over from Japan, is leading the AL in batting average right now. They are hot. The Braves are kind of struggling.
4-6 in the last 10.
Post-break, it's been tough for the NL East in general.
Unusual to see from Atlanta over the past 2 to 3 years, especially.
Most definitely. So the final score there in Boston, first of a 2-game set, 7 Boston, 1 Atlanta.
We also got the Windy City Showdown taking place right now, Bill.
Not that interesting of a series this year. I mean, there's some hot teams in the NL Central, so the Cubs are kind of falling back in the shadows.
They're knocking a little bit, though.
Yeah, they are.
They're getting going.
The White Sox, not a lot to talk about there. Cubs at 49-51. White Sox at 41-61.
What are the Cubs, like 6-5 back in the wild card?
Yeah.
I think it's 5, right?
Yeah, 5 back right now.
Yeah, 5 back. So they're not out of it.
Couple teams to jump, couple NL East teams to jump.
That's a team that'll be interesting to see what they do at the deadline.
They'll have to jump Miami and Philly if they want that. So, couple tough teams. I don't know.
And the last little tidbit, the Dodgers get back Kike Hernandez in a trade with the Red Sox.
Yeah, they do. They traded him for Nick Robertson and Justin Hagman, 2 right-hand relief pitchers from AAA. That's what they'll be going for Boston.
So that's what's been going on around the league the past couple days. Now let's get into the real stuff.
Gonna kick it off with what I thought was the most intriguing series of the week between Cincinnati and Milwaukee. The 2 top teams in the NL Central battling it out. The first game goes to, and it's an absolute barn burner, goes to Milwaukee. Sal Frelick gets his first home run. Yelich walks it off after Alexis Diaz blows a tough save.
First home run of the career for Sal Frelick.
Yeah, it was. Impressive game for Milwaukee to come back and win that one. And like I said earlier in the week, it kind of just looks like they have the Reds' number sometimes on the field. Because even in the second game, the Reds take an early lead. They look good, and the Brewers claw back. They end up having Yelich hit a 3-run homer.
He's had a great series so far.
Yeah, 15th homer of the year. He's absolutely killing it.
He looks like he might be back.
MVP Yelich, yes sir. Cincinnati only gets its 3rd win versus Milwaukee after finishing that in 12 games this series. Or season, excuse me.
That was part of the reason why, on our first episode, I was saying that the Reds needed to take 2 out of 3 from the Brewers because they've been beaten up on them this year, and it's still such a tight divisional race. I mean, they're still separated by a half game. So, I mean, today is going to put somebody in first place for, like, by themselves, and they don't play. I don't think they play each other anymore. I think
don't.
This is it.
This is the last game, and they're already 3-9, so if they lose today, they're 3-10 on the season.
No more head-to-head.
And that's a rough season series to have against a team you might even see in the wild card series.
Now, something crazy that I saw that I don't really understand at all is the Reds are potentially considering trading Jonathan India.
I saw this too. I don't understand trying to be competitive, which it seems like they are, and also trading.
I mean, yeah, you're a half game out of your division and you're the top wild card spot. Why would you trade former Rookie of the Year second baseman that, he hits. He plays good defense.
Second base is a hard position to come by for solid guys like that, and he's slashing 251, 409 slugging, and 346 OPS. So, I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. It's about a little bit above league average in a lot of those categories.
I mean, I wonder what a guy like that would even, like, what would you get for him?
Yeah,
What
I
could
mean,
you get?
he's young himself, so is it a prospect trade, or are they trying to get a veteran for a young guy? I'd love to look into the situation more as the week goes on.
I wonder if it even develops anymore, or if, like, say the Reds take today's game against the Crew and they're in first place now, maybe they shift and they shut it down.
I mean, this
like
is a
they're gonna
lineup.
push for it.
They got a kid, Matt McLean, batting third. They got Ellie De La Cruz leading off. India was in the 5-hole. Spencer Steers in the 6. So, I mean, this is such a young team, and they're competitive. If you're not trading India for a quality, I would say probably veteran arm, I really don't know why you'd even consider it.
I agree with you. I don't even know if I would consider it in general because of the position the Reds are in right now.
Right. And the actual position of second base being so hard to fill with that quality type of player.
You got to think also India's one of the few guys that has been there for a couple years.
Gotta be a clubhouse staple.
Yeah, he's seen bad seasons.
Very true, very true.
Why would you trade somebody like that?
So I think we're in agreement that they shouldn't.
I don't think they should, and I don't think they will.
But I think it'll be interesting to keep monitoring that situation, and I am very excited to watch that game between the Crew and the Reds tonight.
Keeping it in the NL Central, and speaking of trade in the trade season, the Pirates apparently are willing to listen to trade offers for David Bednar and young, blooming ace, Mitch Keller. I know he struggled a little bit, but
Relatively young, 27.
yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Definitely.
What are your thoughts? You think they should trade one of or either of these guys, and why?
This is another one that I just don't get. And maybe I'm looking at it from a fan's standpoint, and that's what it is. They say it's easy to look from the bleachers and make these calls. But, I mean, this Bednar, relievers are expensive. Pitchers are expensive. You can't avoid that.
True.
He's got 3 years of arbitration starting now. That's coming from after this year. So 4 years of control.
3.5.
Yeah, right. 745,000 on the books. I mean, unless you're
That's
getting
like almost the minimum.
So it really is.
I mean, he's not going to be getting paid that though because he's going to get the ARB kick. He's having a crazy year.
He's going to have a couple mil. That's the thing. He's still going to be an underpaid top reliever in the league. So unless you're getting a phenomenal haul for him, and maybe they would.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Again, is just I don't know what's being offered for Bednar specifically, but if it is a huge haul, it would have to be like a 3-player haul, and 2 of them would have to be near MLB ready.
Yeah, I mean, he's
filthy.
He's 3-1. He's appeared in 38 games. He's got a 1.15 ERA, 47 Ks, under 1 WHIP at a .95. I mean,
he's untouchable. He's at like a 2.5 in his career. This is a guy you're letting go.
The thing that I don't understand, I agree with you in that with the control of and everything and how cheap he's been, that number is going to jump a little bit with the ARB case, obviously, with those numbers we just said. But I don't know if the Pirates are in the position to really hang on to somebody like that, because do you think they're going to be contending in 3 or 4 years?
I mean, they had a hot start to the season this year, and they have talent there. They have guys like Joshua Cody and Key Brian Hayes and pitchers like Bednar and Keller even. I mean, this is a team that, like, there are building blocks there. Those are building blocks to a solid team eventually.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what, are you just going to keep doing this cycle of blowing it up, saying it's not going to be enough and blowing it up again in Pittsburgh? Because then the team's never going to be good.
It's not working. They're sitting in last place again. You know,
you don't try to hold on to these guys that are proven as talented and try to build around them. I mean, maybe you're trading for guys that'll end up coming up and being those talents.
I see both sides of it, is what I'm saying. I understand the years and the control and everything, but
the Bednar one I do not understand. But switching over onto Keller, that one I kind of see a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I don't understand the Keller one at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he's in his first year of arbitration already, so he's only got 2 more, and he's already getting 2.5
He's a starter, though, man. You got to realize, starting pitching is you need starters.
Might
Look at the Mets this year.
Might be able to get more back for him.
I guess it all really depends on what they're going to get, but we will never know that until it happens.
This because he's already getting $2.5 million. I mean, it's only going to go up because the guy is phenomenal. He's 27 years old. He's going to be 29 by the time he's coming out of the arbitration. I don't know. I mean, maybe you hold on, but that's the thing. I mean, because if you're holding on to Keller, how are you letting Bednar go? I think it's just both or neither.
The problem with Keller is he's not helping his trade value at all. He's got a 4 in his last 30, and over the last 7, he's got a 5.27. I mean,
maybe even that arbitration goes down then.
He's 1-4 in his last 7 with a 5.27 ERA. I mean,
yeah, the arbitration hearing could not go his way. Actually, then maybe he'll be cheaper than 2.5 next year.
I think the Pirates could definitely get more for Bednar because of what you just said, the extra year and how dominant he's been.
Right,
but
yeah.
starting pitching is so key, and I don't think they should give up on Keller just yet.
So what, you think they hold on to Keller, they ship Bednar?
I think you can replace relievers easier than starters. You should see what you can get for Bednar since he's having a better year and he has more control, so other teams might be willing to offer more.
Absolutely agree with that first point. Relievers are definitely easier to replace, but are dominant closers easier to replace?
That's also a very fair point.
How many are there that good? Because Bednar's in a handful of guy conversation.
Well, yeah,
absolute electric arm.
The guy's an all-star.
So, I mean, yeah, with a team as bad as Pittsburgh, I think what they should do is either go all out and trade both of these guys and get a big haul of guys to build for the future, or keep both of them and try to build around this core.
So you don't think they should split one, keep one, sell one? You should think it should be keep both or sell both.
Be full sellers or stand firm and try to build around this for the future, I think.
Okay.
What about you?
I think that they should trade Bednar, get a haul for him because he will definitely get you a haul with the year he's having, and hang on to Keller and see if he can rebound a little bit, because you never know. Next season at this time we could be talking about it again because he has less years on the contract. Maybe they'll trade Keller next year or in the offseason.
He'll also probably be cheaper based off those stats.
So
a lot of fair points. And I love this sport just for the fact that we could be talking about a team like Pittsburgh, and it could be so interesting right now. That's why it's hard to not be romantic about baseball.
Couldn't agree more.
Sliding on over to the AL now. Unfortunate news for both Cleveland and Shane Bieber, and kind of baseball as a whole. Shane Bieber goes to the 60-day IL with right elbow inflammation. It shouldn't require surgery.
Yeah, he's supposed to come back September 10th, it said, is his earliest activation date. Could be more. You don't know right now. I guess it's over a month out.
So like I said, no surgery, and that's always nice, but probably no trade for Cleveland.
That's the question mark, yeah, because they were talking about it, but now who's going to trade for a guy that won't come back until mid-September, potentially?
And I don't know what a package would even look like. It was already going to be tough because Bieber's kind of having a bit of a downswing statistically. So you're on a downswing statistically, and now you're dealing with elbow issues. It's kind of hard to make a pitch to a GM as to why he would go out and get that guy. I mean, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, I thought it was more likely that he was going to get traded than a lot of starters.
A lot of teams need a starter, too. And I mean, he's a sub-4 guy. He's at a 3.77 this year.
Cleveland kind of just sits in this middle zone where, like, they don't know if they're going to sell, they don't know if they're going to buy. Sometimes they just do both.
How many games back are there right now? Do you know?
Of the Central?
Yeah.
I think it's only like 3. I believe it's only 3.
Bit of a logjam.
Yeah, it's 3. They're 3 behind the Twins. They're 4 up on the Tigers, though.
Right.
So I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of it's the Twins or the Guardians, probably.
Yeah, I don't. We talked about it last time. I don't know if the Tigers have what it takes to get all the way there.
Yeah,
but
you look at the rosters, the lineups, and just like the long stretch of the season here, finishing it off. I just don't think the Tigers have it in it.
I agree. Keeping it in the Central, Joey Gallo on the Twins. We're talking about the first place Twins. They're at a 3-game lead on them, but Gallo, one of the weirdest seasons that you'll ever see. He's on pace to be the first Major League Baseball player to hit under 180 with a 100-plus OPS plus.
Joey Gallo is such an intriguing guy. I mean, he always has been since his days in Texas because he is productive. That's why he sticks around the league, and that's why he finds teams and finds places in lineups. He still plays every day.
It's never been about average for Joey Gallo, that's for sure.
He's got 17 home runs this year again, 31 RBI, so you can see where a lot of his RBI are coming from. Only 14 not off the home run.
Yeah, now get to the ugly stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's slashing 175, but 448 slugging and 740 OPS, which is just around league average, honestly, a little bit down. How does this type of player exist, Mike?
I think it's the homers, honestly. It's the production you just talked about.
They're rare. They are rare. They're few and far between.
Because a 740 OPS, that's like what? League average? A little above league average?
I think it might be, yeah.
I think league average is like 700?
Yeah, roughly.
So above league average, 740, I mean, we're right at it.
That's definitely because of his slugging.
That's what I'm saying. So you asked, how is it possible? I think it is possible because he still produces to the point where he has a decent OPS/slugging.
Should be interesting to see if he finishes the season at those benchmarks. I kind of hope he does, just to see the history myself. Gallo's Twins and the Mariners split the first two of their series. Twins walk the first one off, and the Mariners take the second one.
That's a guy I also wonder. Like, do you think maybe somebody calls Minnesota and asks about him?
Yeah, maybe. I haven't heard his name much, and Minnesota's a first-place club, so...
Yeah, but is he really a player that you need to hang on to? You know, like, it depends what somebody's offering again, but, like...
They got a big right field wall in Minnesota, too. Probably hard for him to get him up over him.
Well, we were talking about Gallo's offensive stats. We got to also mention he is a 2-time Gold Glover, and he is very good in the outfield.
Absolute laser beam of an arm from fucking the outfield, too. You got to give it to him.
So it'll be very interesting to see what goes on in the Central.
Jumping back to Cleveland and staying with the Central, do you think they could win it? I mean, they split with the Royals, 5-3 loss in the first one, and a 5-1 win in the second one. They got a third game tonight, I believe.
I just don't know if, with losing Bieber, if they have what it takes to catch the Twins. That's not saying the Twins are, like, world beaters. They're only 5 games above 500. I mean,
exactly. That's kind of how it works with that division.
They could catch them, but I just don't really know who's starting for them. They got Logan Allen, Tanner Bibby. Savale's been incredible. I'll give him that.
Most definitely. And still that shutdown back end of the bullpen. That's what you got to give them.
Class A, one of the best relievers in baseball.
A couple great bats. Always give them that.
Rookie Gavin Williams. He's sitting at like a 3.75. Can't complain, but, you know, does he really push you over the top? They do still have guys like Jose Ramirez and Miles Straw and, you know, Josh Bell is even there, but...
Right. Looking at it and making an overall call, cause looking at the Twins and looking at the Guardians, I just kind of think it is, again, I think I said this on Monday's episode, the Twins' division to lose. And so I think it'll be interesting to see if they do that. Not really sure when these teams play again next, but that'll be an interesting series for sure.
For sure. I agree with the statement that it will be the Twins to lose, and I don't believe that they will lose it in the end, but like we've been talking about, it's baseball, you never know what happens.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that tight Central, folks.
You thought we were going to be able to make it through an episode without talking about him. According to J.P. Morosi, Shohei Ohtani is on the radar of multiple teams, but specifically he name-dropped the Baltimore Orioles and the Arizona Diamondbacks, which I was very shocked to hear.
Very intriguing.
Those teams don't usually make massive trades like that nowadays.
Would love to see a blockbuster by one of these two franchises. Two franchises that could really use, I mean, not only a World Series win, but just a playoff berth and a nice little lengthy run for their fans. I think... you think either team can, like, afford to make this trade? Do they have the pieces?
I think Baltimore definitely has the farm system to be able to do it. I'm not too up to date with the Diamondbacks farm system, but I think it is pretty good.
Is it smart for the Orioles to make that trade?
They are in first, man. I mean, that guy could put you over the top.
Yeah, and bringing him over to the East and giving him a city like Baltimore.
Imagine him hitting in the AL East parks.
I actually... I think if I had to pick one of these two teams to see what he was a better pick for...
That's what I was going to ask you next.
I'm going to the Orioles. I do go to the Orioles over the D-backs. I think he would be a perfect pick for the top of that young rotation. Kind of give him a veteran guy, which he is now. He's been here a while.
Yeah, that was my next question. It was going to be which team do you think would benefit from trading for him the most.
Well,
out
to
of the
be
two
fair,
of
I
them.
feel like the D-backs would benefit the most, but the Orioles need it more. It's. I guess it's the Ohtani trade. It's the most complicated trade in sports right now.
Because he's arguably the most.
Yeah, because both of these teams need a starting pitcher. Both of these teams need a power bat. You're getting both of that in Ohtani. I'd like to see him go to Baltimore more. Like, the D-backs need him to make a run at the Dodgers. So, like, both of these teams need that guy. And if they can get him, they should probably pull the trigger. Again, if they can convince the Angels to even make that trade.
I don't know why, but for some reason in my mind, like, I just cannot picture him in either of those uniforms.
I'm picturing him in an Orioles uniform right now, and it looks pretty nice.
I think it would look pretty nice. Even the Diamondbacks, it would look pretty nice. It just look really different.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. Baltimore fans, I'm on your side. I want to see him there.
Those are two teams that I never thought would be in the race for him, but it will be surely interesting to see if one of them makes the move.
We'll keep you up to date on the biggest story in sports. We bring you on over to Texas now for the Silver Boot Series.
One of my favorite series.
I would say the second most intriguing series of this week.
Always one of my favorite series when those two teams get together.
But, honestly, took me by surprise. Two barn burner games, as you expect when these two teams come together. But Houston takes the first two from Texas.
What did I say on the
They
last
did.
ep?
But they're squeezing them. They're squeezing them out.
They are.
Don't act like these are wins.
I mean, they're hard fought games though.
yeah, but these are absolute coin flip games.
Yeah, I mean,
the first game goes to Houston 10-9 and a walk-off single by Yainer Diaz.
unbelievable game.
And then another one 4-3 in the second one. 2 runs given up by Ryan Presley in the ninth, but still finishes it off.
Very rare. Presley's usually nails out there.
Absolutely phenomenal series so far. That first game is game of the week so far.
It just goes to show you how nasty that Rangers lineup really is.
Real. And honestly, which game 3 are you more interested in, Cincinnati or the Silver Boot here?
That's a good question, honestly, because of how each series has played out so far. The Rangers are down 2-0 already. They really need a win, or else Houston's tied with them.
I also love that, just both of them are kind
But
of...
also, Cincinnati wins, they jump Milwaukee, and we were just saying they don't play each other anymore. So,
two divisions that couldn't be closer. It's a bigger game for Cincinnati.
to answer your question, I think I'm more interested in the Silver Boot, but I think both of those teams will make the playoffs. I'm not sure if both teams in that NL Central game between the Brewers and Reds will make the playoffs.
That's actually a very fair point, and maybe that's why I find the NL series more intriguing.
Yeah.
Call me an NL guy, maybe, but I'm taking it over there to watch Milwaukee and Cincinnati. I'll keep my eye on both of them, though.
A couple of great series so far.
Absolutely phenomenal. What are your thoughts on the Rangers and their chances to finish off this AL West race?
I think they've had kind of a rough start to the second half thus far. They've actually been struggling for quite a bit. I mean, they're still having a great year. They're one of the best teams in the league, but they have not been as hot as they were. And it shows because the Astros are right behind them. Not even just the Astros. The Angels are only 6.5 behind the Rangers for first place.
You keep saying the Angels. You keep saying
The Mariners are only 7.5 behind the Rangers for first place.
Yeah, all right.
It's not over yet.
I'd like to see it. It would be interesting. But those two teams at the top are built to last, I think. And specifically, I mean, I hope it doesn't happen again for Texas fans' sake. I hope Texas doesn't drop this. I hope they don't blow this race because it's finally their year, or at least it feels like it, to take that pennant.
Yeah, I would love to see the Rangers finish it off as well. I mean, the Astros have run it for, half a decade now?
If I have to make a call, I say the bats in Texas are consistent enough to hold on to it, so I think they will, but...
Semien, Seager, Lowe, I mean...
We keep saying how hard it is to
Young.
pick against Houston, and there's a reason.
Heim. They get the Rangers lineup is just... I don't know if there's a better one in baseball, to be honest with you.
I think I fully agree with that.
So I think that they will hold off. I think I agree with you. They are built. Their lineup is built to beat any team.
Yeah. So I mean, I also picked Texas to hold it off, but I really wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here talking about how the experience of Houston
The
played a
only
factor.
the only reason that I would slightly maybe give Houston an edge is because they've been in these situations already.
The whole lineup, basically. I mean, they got a couple young guys and a bunch of World Series champions. It's crazy.
Exactly, and they have. I mean, the Rangers got Eovaldi, who's having a fantastic year.
Losing DeGrom.
Losing DeGrom is a crusher. I would, if they had DeGrom, I would say they would definitely finish it off.
If
but
he's pitching anything like his tops, I mean, and people barely touch
I
him.
wanted to mention too. I mean, the Rangers are down 2-0 already in this series. You know who they got to face tonight?
Oh, who do they face? I actually don't know the matchup.
Framber Valdez.
Against?
Who is pitching for the Rangers?
I think it's Andrew Heaney.
It is Andrew Heaney versus
Ooh.
Framber Valdez.
That is not a great matchup.
That's a
for
tough draw,
Texas, yeah.
being down 2-0 in the series already.
We'll see if the Heenster can hold up, but man, that's tough, man.
The Rangers are in desperate need for a good start from the Heen dog.
So we'll keep an eye on the final game of that series.
I think it should be interesting.
So boop. Done with the AL now. Moving on over to interleague play. First game between Philly and Baltimore. Man, was that a doozy. Just the teams going back and forth, couple heavyweights. Gets to the end of the game. Philly ties it at 2 in the 8th, and then Craig Kimbrell comes out and gives it right back up. That game was full of stories. Baltimore takes it 3-2 there at the end in the 9th. There were 2 errors by Trey Turner at short. Really absent-minded ones, too. Got booed off the field in Philly.
Thrown out.
Happens, too. He got tossed for arguing a low strike call and then tossing his gear at a bad boy.
You never want to see things like that, honestly.
No, not the most mature response to what's been going on. It's tough.
You hate to see it for somebody like Philly, too.
And you see his teammate out there in left field, Schwarber. It's looking like a normal routine fly ball, and Schwarber just takes a belly flop.
Absolutely horrendous left fielder.
Really flopped there. Looked like King DDD in a game of Smash. And that was pretty much the first game.
Philly, nice bounce back in the second game, though.
Orioles. Give them credit.
Orioles had them down to their last couple outs, I think it was. So one of the guys who doesn't really falter, who hasn't this year, Cano for the
Yeah, we were
Orioles,
talking about him Monday. Absolute monster.
gives up 2 in the bottom of the 9th, and Philly walks it off.
Not an easy guy to score 2 off of.
So that series is split right now.
Both of these teams look like they're for real. They're playing close games, and I think they both look like postseason teams playing postseason games against each other. Teams that are playing like the games matter and competing like it. Philly's been known for absent-minded defense for a while. It's tough to see Trey Turner fall into that trope because he's been so good for so long. But, the Orioles may be for real. They really may be, because if you're losing your game by giving up 2 in the 9th, and it's Yainer Cano giving up the 2...
A rarity.
It just doesn't happen often, so... If that's what a team needs to beat you, it's probably... You're feeling pretty good about the series so far.
He gave up 2 and they walked it off on him, and he still has a 1.82 ERA, so that tells you what you need to know.
Exactly.
Rubber match is Kyle Bradish versus Ranger Suarez tonight.
Love Kyle Bradish.
He's been having a great year. Almost under a 3 ERA.
3.05, right?
Yeah. 6-5, almost approaching 100 Ks, Guy's having a great year.
So we'll talk about Baltimore first and their chances. Where are they currently at in the East? They're
in first place.
Yeah, they're still up first.
They're in first place.
Still up on the
got a 1.5 game lead over the Rays.
The Rays have only played once since their series because they started a 2-game set against the Fish.
3-7 in the last 10 for Tampa Bay, though.
It's been tough, and that's part of the losing 3 out of 4 to Baltimore. So I think Baltimore. I don't know if they finish off that East race, but I do think we're seeing them in the postseason.
There's just too much time to tell for a team like Baltimore. We don't know how they're going to end out.
The Rays are just so furiously on their tail too.
Yeah, and
as long as they just don't keep losing 3 out of every 10, winning 3 out of every 10.
We're talking about them being 3-7 in their last 10, as if they're not still 20 games above 500,
and a game and a half back after that skid. So. I think it's going to be tough for the Orioles to hold on, but that's such a young, talented team, and now we know their name is in the hat on Shohei Ohtani.
I would love to give the Orioles just a little bit more credit here, because I mean, they're 2 games behind being the best team in Major League Baseball.
It's really insane to think about.
Not just the American League; they are the best team in the American League right now.
The AL East will do that too because there's just so many good teams there.
You would think though, like that's a dog eat dog division. Like it's tough.
It's that schedule change.
They're beating up on them though. Like they're winning the games against their rivals. 3 out of 4 against the Rays. You know that they win their games that they have to win.
Yeah, Baltimore is a team that does that, and I think it's due to the young bats and the great back end of the bullpen.
And guys like Kyle Bradish,
Definitely,
Taylor Wells,
definitely Kramer
or
Dean
Tyler
Kramer.
Wells. Excuse me, not
Dean
Taylor.
Kramer. Been
Dean,
very good.
Yep. I mean, they've got guys that are coming. We haven't even seen John Means this year. He's been hurt.
Yeah. And then they are known to have top prospects waiting in the wings.
They've got a great farm system. We were just talking about that.
I really don't think Baltimore is going away for a long time, and I don't think they're going away this year. So.
Yeah, I mean, they might not win the division this year, but they're going to only improve.
So we'll move it over onto Philly. Okay, so no, I mean, you got to give a little bit of credit to Philly. They're a good team. They got playoff experience. They win, like yesterday. They win games. I mean, to score 2 off of Cano, like we were saying, if that's what it takes to win, but it's such a hard feat, and they did it. So you got to give them credit. I believe they're a half game out.
Yeah, half game out of the wild card, but they are 11 games behind the Braves.
I'm
division.
Yeah. To simply put, I don't think the Braves have a chance of losing that division. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I agree with you. I mean, every time it seems like somebody gets close to the Braves, we remember last year, the back and forth, that team just finishes. They're know how to win.
They're just too good.
They just know how to win.
Now, I'm looking at the NL wild card standings, though, and I think Philly's undebatably got a better roster.
It's getting a little more interesting.
I think they got a better roster than Arizona, though. So with Arizona having to play the West,
it's hard to disagree with you because I mean that they went to the World Series.
Yeah, this is your current NL champions.
They don't have Hoskins though. That is a big blow.
Mm-hmm.
But they are still the reigning NL champs.
Not a team to scoff at. Now they got a brand new first baseman by the name of Bryce Harper. Don't know if you've heard of him.
Unbelievable over there sometimes.
I mean, here we go. So they make a wild card run, I think.
I was just about to say it's getting more interesting because the teams behind them are starting to win. The Cubs on a 4-game win streak are only 5 out of the wild card.
Cubs took the first one over the White Sox.
The Padres are only 6 out of the wild card. The Mets, I know it's a stretch, they're only 7 out of the wild card. I mean, the deadline is going to play a big part in a lot of these teams.
Yeah, it's a lot of good teams playing good baseball, so I think it will depend a lot on that trade deadline.
A lot of the sellers, though, potential sellers like the Mets, Cubs, and Padres are now winning. And
we'll see how those GMs decide to move.
Becoming less likely to do these trades now. You'd think if they're winning, they would want to go push instead of pull out.
Should be hard to get people from those teams, yeah.
So
definitely keep an eye on that as we go into the deadline.
Sticking with the interleague theme, my favorite game of last night, the Mets absolutely torched the Yankees 9-3 behind great games from Francisco Lindor, who goes 3 for 5 with 3 runs and 2 uncontested steals.
One of third there.
One of third, one of second, no throws on either of them. Pete Alonso goes 3 for 4 with 2 bombs. 5 RBI. Vogelback goes back-to-back with Pete after the first one. Or the second one, excuse me. Justin Verlander looked great again. 6 strong innings, 2 hits, 4 walks, 6 Ks, 0 runs. He's down to a 3.24 on the year.
Yeah, Vientos and Alvarez unfortunately get hit in the hand at the end of that game in the late innings. They both seem to be okay, thank God, especially for Alvarez.
Yeah, his x-rays were negative. So.
Absolute shining star for the Mets, so it would be a real shame to lose either of those guys, honestly. But Mets have taken the first 2 out of 3 from the Yanks this year. They play again tonight.
I'm going to quickly throw this in because I was listing the stats for the Mets. Jeff McNeil had another great game, 2 for 4 with a run, 3 RBI, and a walk.
Right.
So, can't forget about Jeff.
Couple guys that are on the trade block. Mark Canha didn't have a hit in the game, did he?
He did not. He went
0
for 2 with 2 Ks.
2 Ks, all right. So, I mean, hopefully not too many people were watching that one, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't think they're looking at the games that are happening right now.
Yeah,
if they're trading for somebody like Mark Canha, I think you would be thinking about his
a long resume,
his background and what he's done. And,
even keeping him for next year.
I mean, now that he plays first base, too, he could prove to be a valuable asset.
He is a versatile guy, yeah.
I think we've seen him over there at third even. couple times.
Right, yeah.
He can really do a lot more than people think.
Yeah,
Mark
he's a
Hanna.
versatile guy, both at the corner infield or outfield spots too. So he's just kind of a corner player.
Yeah.
After last night's game, the Yankees slide. They're in 5th in the AL East. They're 9 games back right now. 2.5 of the wild card. Only Boston ahead of them. So we know that they'll be playing more. The Mets are in 4th in the NL East, 17.5 games back, which is always just a jarring number to see. And 7 games back of the wild card, quite a few teams to jump there. What do you think about the Yankees?
I think the Yankees have been bitten by injuries, obviously.
Most
Judge,
definitely. Losing Judge is a shame.
it's just awful. Rodon has missed he missed like the whole first half of the year, and since he's been back, he really has not been what they thought he was going to be. I know it's only been like 3 or 4 starts, but he's got, a 7 ERA?
Right, yeah.
7.5 ERA?
Not a great relationship with the fans so far, too.
He's lost 3 games already. He's got a 7.36. He's approaching a 7.5. I mean,
blew a kiss, too.
yeah, he's being a douche out there.
It's been a little tough to see, but this team is a team who has been missing some key people for a lot of the year, like you said. And they are still in this predicament where they are 2.5 back of the wild card and there's only 1 team above them. And it's kind of hard to see that they're not one of the better teams there if they can get Judge back in any kind of capacity.
I think the key is going to be Judge coming back as soon as possible.
And the latest update on him? I haven't heard much.
He was I think he was taking part in a simulated game either yesterday or 2 days ago. I think not even bigger than Judge, because obviously he's the reigning MVP, had 62 home runs, fantastic baseball player. They really desperately need Carlos Rodon to start pitching like he was supposed to.
And if he does, I think that wild card spot is definitely something that they can get.
I usually don't, but I will give Garrett Cole his flowers. He has been fantastic this year.
Very good this year. Top 5 in ERA, I believe, right?
I think you are right. He's been having a great year. He's 9-2 with a 2.78.
Yeah, just nasty numbers.
Yeah.
108 whip.
He's what the Yankees signed up for. Now they just need Rodon to follow suit.
Yeah, I guess my analysis on the Yankees would be that's a team that they got to get to the ballpark and they got to focus on winning each day's game. And if they do that, I think that spot could very well end up being theirs.
Herman, even, he goes out, he throws a perfect game, and then he looks like he just doesn't know how to pitch the next game. It doesn't make any sense.
Nah, it's tough. That perfect game was against the A's, though. So
I suppose.
So 29-win team.
You take what you get, though.
Most definitely.
How many? We haven't seen one in, 11 years?
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Yankees got a shot at that?
At which one? The wild card or the division?
The division, I think, is kind of should be.
I think the division might be out of question.
Yeah.
Wild card?
Those 2 teams at the top are too good to chase, but I think the wild card, man.
I think they got a chance at the wild card. It's only 2.5. It's no way it's insurmountable.
They could definitely pass Boston, Toronto. Also,
they need to get their guys.
So we'll see, but like I said, got to take it day by day.
Also, one thing about the Yankees, they never sell at the deadline, so don't expect them to be doing that. They're going to try to improve their team. Unless it's somebody like a Josh Donaldson that they can get rid of because he's just awful.
Could definitely see him going, yeah.
And he's just paid too much money. That guy is a thief, robbery.
I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see the Yankees name, at all during this trade deadline.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're going to do because it's quite an acquisition to get Judge back. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty big trade.
Right.
Without having to even give anybody up.
Keep an eye on those Yanks, yeah. So we'll shift over. Last but not least, what do you think about the Mets and their chances to actually do something in this year?
I think if we continue to get the Verlander we've gotten, the Senga we've gotten, and Quintana needs to step up. The starting pitching and the bullpen are what have killed the Mets this year. Mm-hmm. The lineup's been coming around sometimes. They're a little bit streaky, but they've been looking pretty good since the break, I would say. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you'd agree or not.
I would, definitely.
I think they're going to trade at least a couple players away.
Not only that, but I just think there's just so many teams. I don't want to sound negative, but it's so many teams to jump in. 7 games it's a decent amount with not that many games left, a couple months.
Real quick on Verlander, though. Like I was saying, they need him to be that good.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last 7, he's down to a a 2.05 ERA.
Oh, he's been absolutely filthy since the break.
Yeah, he's been what we need him to be.
Yeah, you got to give it to him. 7 games back. How many teams to jump there?
I think it's quite a few now with the Cubs winning.
5 teams.
Yeah, 6 teams to get in.
It's a tough road. It's an uphill battle. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. So fingers crossed on that. But
I mean, they got to take care of business against the Yankees tonight in the conclusion of the Subway Series, and then they got a 4-game with the Washington Nationals in last place. You got to take care of business against the Nationals.
I think actually that's a great series to have right before the deadline because it's going to be the absolute litmus test on if Steve Cohen and Billy Epler sell here.
Yeah, because, I mean, say they win today, that's 48 wins. Then they take 3 of 4, they're up to 51.
They drop 3 of 4 from the Nationals. They just have to sell.
Yeah.
They just have to.
Yeah, it'll definitely sway them the other way. If they lose 3 or 4 to the Nationals, I think you're going to see Mark Canada, Tommy Pham, David Robertson, maybe Omar Narvaez, a couple other guys maybe too.
That series is going to be absolutely imperative.
All shipped out.
Yeah, absolutely imperative series to the end of the Mets season here. We'll keep an eye on that as the week goes forward.
Yeah, so overall, I mean, I'm excited for this last game of the Subway Series.
Always entertaining.
Kind of stinks that they only play each other 4 times now.
Yeah, definitely weird with the schedule.
Too short, 2 games.
Take what you can get, I guess, but that's a weird one.
Yeah. I don't know if you mentioned it already. You did say that they have won 3 of 4, right?
No,
or 2 or 3 already, and then it would be
3
3 of 4 if they win tonight.
3 or 4 if they win tonight.
Yeah, so the Mets, they play the Yankees well, but tonight will be a test because they struggle against lefties, and Rodon is supposed to be a very good lefty.
Big game. Should be entertaining. And that was episode 2 of the 9 Frames podcast. I am Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
And that's all, folks.